Greetings, I am Lies.
And I am Scandal.
And let's play a game together.
together.
Let's try and get through this together and stay on topic. So I will admit that sometimes when we just go through 900 tangents, it's because we're just not engaged in a game. And while we do have a lot of fun with each other and with you, and we love it when you comment on our other aside topics, we are trying to play these games as well.
However, the whole point is also not to just sit here and just showcase games. Like, I appreciate... So, it was actually really funny. We asked somebody kind of like how they would categorize what we were doing. They're like, well, you're not doing Let's Plays per se. And I was like, yeah, so what would you call us what we're doing? And they were just like...
You're doing like
a TED Talk
over a game. And we're like, can we really say Lies and Scandal? Let's play TED Talks. TED Talks in the gaming world.
Right?
We're not doing video essays because essays actually have to have a standardized, planned out structure. So we're doing somewhere in between, you know, like basically a live blog reaction, literary critique with stories, a let's play, and a video essay all at once.
Yeah.
But since it involves a video game, and we are going through it in a playing fashion, let's call it a let's play. All right. I never knew that Rena was, let's just capitalize the hell out of that, such a fighter. Because we knew she was a fighter, but we didn't know she was such a fighter.
I really don't like this idea that, again, where only youthfulness and creativity and being really soft and fluffy is, you know, this means that you're such a cute fighter. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, she's cute and demure and soft and submissive, and that's such a fighter.
The goodest of good people would ever be afflicted with the things because they can handle it.
Right, because, you know, people getting angry and upset and grouchy and pissy, well, it's not them fighting.
Well, see, but those things aren't going to happen because that's the not good people that have gotten sick.
Right.
Just ask this, you know, fictional nurse here. Yeah.
Which is also another thing to keep in mind when obviously you're playing any games. They're supposing and sometimes putting forth specific ideas that you do not have to agree with in the slightest, and also keep in mind they're also fictional. Doesn't mean that they aren't putting forth, you know, concepts that author might believe in.
And I was gonna say, one, the author may not believe in what they're writing at all. It's just an interesting thought experiment, which is what most writing is. You go, I've got an idea, not I'd like to write about my belief system. Like, you don't hear people going, I'm going to be an author because I have a belief system. You hear them go, because I've got so many ideas.
Yeah.
Like, that's really what it is.
Well,
I was going to say, but also it is important to realize that things that are in a fictional context are fictional. Every person I've ever known with a chronic illness has bad emotional days. Even when they are a gentle, nice, you know, pure soul, if you will, they still get pissed off and sad and frustrated and overwhelmed, and they run out of spoons and patience for you and themselves.
And everything. And they really do. Like, it can be exhausting.
It's like taking Rena to her room for her medication because sometimes she is at the end of her limit and you know she's going to fight you. Not because she has energy to, but because she can't do anything else. She can't cope.
Yeah.
All right. She may be sick, but she acts like she has everything under control.
What?
By just daydreaming out into the world. By just telling me very casually that she spends a ton of her time daydreaming. She's saying it with confidence. Just like Monica said, just say things with confidence.
How does being sick mean that you're not going to have anything under control? There are plenty of people who are sick. I don't.
So I will say,
how does that follow?
That's an interesting moral judgment. Acting like you have everything under control. Going, you are out of control because if you'd had control, you wouldn't have gotten sick.
Yeah, I'm like, the weird implication there kind of disturbs me. Actually, in a really strange way.
Now, there's a couple of ways to take this. Like, I know some of this is just a colloquial linguistic thing of going, you are having something that happens to you that is out of your control, and not saying that you should have it in your control, but nonetheless, you are maintaining your composure and acting like you've got your life together.
Also, everybody, the face of control!
Yeah, right.
What?
Yes, the face
I
of
don't
control.
see at all how she's basically been controlled. She just seems tired and depressed to me.
Right? I would say, and then the other way to take it is going, yeah, her life is an absolute shitstorm, but she acts like she's got everything under control. But there is this level that I've always met in association with people. So having a chronically ill mother, which I've had my entire life, amazing.
It's like it's chronic or something, right?
It's almost like it's chronic means like it keeps going or something like that.
Right.
It's a little bit wild. Anyway,
Yeah, okay.
having been raised with and still currently having connection to a chronically ill mother, and who has also had a good number of chronically ill friends, because amazingly, people connect to each other over, similar and familiar things sometimes.
Ah.
That there's this experience where a lot of really able-bodied people seem to think that if you just try harder, you won't have this problem, or you won't tell them no, or you won't not be able to go, or you won't have to stay home. And there was a lot of, without even knowing what ableism was at all, a lot of me experiencing it directed towards my mom during my own childhood, like really aggressively. And it was this experience all the time where my mom wasn't allowed to have boundaries unless it was her physical sickness that was in the way. Like if emotionally she was done, mentally she was done, she just wasn't interested, didn't want to, it wasn't her preference, that didn't matter. It had to be about her illness, and then it had to be like this sort of thing. And then there was this sort of like thing of going, well, if you took care of yourself better, you then wouldn't not be able to because of your illness. So this idea that you don't have your life in control because you're not using the tools available to you. And there's been a lot of shaming directed towards my mom specifically, and I think also towards her friends, because I've heard her talking about it a little bit. Since I happen to have the privilege of being incredibly healthy, I haven't always engaged in it that much, because as a child around your mom's friends, you don't always talk about the things you're not necessarily connected to. Right? And I didn't really have an emotional connection to her adult friends' illnesses the way I did to my mother's,
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but there was this experience where a lot of times when she would make a new friend somewhere, largely at church, because that was a big part of her life,
Right.
there would be them going, oh, you've made friends with me when you were feeling better, having, basically a better period. And then I think that's just who you're going to be all the time, even though you've explained that you're chronically ill and that's part of your life. And so then it's this level of going, well, yeah, but if you took care of yourself properly, then you wouldn't get sick like this. Well, if you took the medicine you were supposed to, then you wouldn't get sick like this. Well, if you always did perfect self-care, or changed your diet, or did whatever it was, or tried this new fad thing, or did a treatment that I've told you, or went and got faith healing, then you wouldn't have these problems. So if your life was in control, you wouldn't be sick like this.
Right.
And it's been very exhausting and offensive a lot. Like way more so to my mom, but to me, secondhand, of going, I just like to give people their boundaries. And you know what? If they're using their boundaries to ghost me, fine. They don't want me in their life. If they're using their boundaries as an excuse because they don't feel like it that day and they don't feel like they can just say no, fine. I want to empower people to use their boundaries. And it's not like it costs me anything to be decent to someone about their preference.
Yeah.
And I get that other people need things and they want help and support, but if you say no, just say no.
Right.
Anyway, it's in the context of someone being ill, they should always be allowed to say no, and they shouldn't have to explain themselves, and it shouldn't be because they're disorganized or don't have their life together.
Right.
Even if they don't, it shouldn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
All right, under control. Should I tell her that? Should I tell her that she just seems to have it together, even though she doesn't, and that's just such a brave, soldiering on, masculine move, and I love it.
I don't understand.
Should I summon my courage? Because apparently I am still super insecure about having that whole drink fiasco.
What kind of, image are we imposing on Rena on her own? We've barely talked to her, and the thing is, you summoned to tell the most inspiring person I've ever met. Rena's barely said anything, and it feels almost like glorifying or objectifying somebody who's chronically sick for our own, basically. It's kind of like that thing where people use their autistic kids, or they use basically their disabled kids, air quotey here, for me, look what you've done for me, this hard experience that I had, wow, and not even considering the other person's feelings at all. Or
my disabled child or relative or whatever, or experience that I had to do, made me grow so much because they inspired me so much. You know what, actually, talking to a lot of people who have chronic illnesses and who are disabled or crippled or what have you, in various ways, those all overlapping in different areas. It's a Venn diagram, okay? All right, anyway, there's a lot of what I have heard, vocalization of getting frustrated. Now, it's not everyone. Some people are great and really happy to inspire other people. Mm-hmm. But some people are really frustrated about you being inspired by my illness or by me working through it, because this is just my whole life. Mm-hmm. If it's me getting over an injury and getting back to health and like health and comfort and mobility, that's great. Be inspired. I worked fucking hard for that, and I want you to work hard for the things you want and feel like you can work hard for it. But when it's just someone living their life in a wheelchair and you're like, you inherently are so inspiring because you didn't lay down and die because you live in a wheelchair. Like, that is the experience that I've heard a lot of disabled people sort of get when a lot of able-bodied people are inspired by them.
Yeah.
And it just feels like there's a way more tactful way to do it, but also a way to engage of going, having someone inspire you just because they're disabled is very different than having them inspire you because you like who they are, you like what they've done, you like the choices they've made. You think it's cool as shit that they have tricked out their cane to look badass as hell. And you admire that about them because if you ever wanted to, interact with something that was a necessary part of your life, it'd be cool to own it for yourself and your own aesthetic.
Right. Well, and it's also like, I think that I've gotten frustrated with individuals like who are like, wow, this experience that you're having, and they're like, this is just a part of my life. Fuck you. Right. Like, it makes you so different. You're like, it's only different because you're not experiencing it, but this isn't like that. Like, what the fuck?
That's a very good point too. There's this weird kind of exotification sometimes of illness in the same way that there can be of like ethnicity or foreignness, and going, you're amazing because you exist, and you're going, wait, I was just buying coffee. What?
Like, what the fuck?
Like, I'm not even thinking about the fact that you are seeing me as whatever category that's different than you is.
Right.
And then you have to come up and go, you're different than me, and that inspires me. And I go, whoa, hi?
Excuse me? What the fuck?
So, that one.
I am not different, I am myself.
Should I summon my courage and tell her that she's the most inspiring person I have ever met? See, Miki was correct. This is the highest bar of our life at the age of 16. We are never going to meet better people ever. The most inspiring. I mean, he does say that I've ever met, not that I ever will meet, but Miki suggested that she is the best that we will ever meet, so
yeah,
we're there. Is this a question? It is. These choices were really close together, actually.
Yeah.
For other choices, these two were back to back. What should I do? And there's so much of a deliberate thing. Like, again, I felt like there should have been a choice of invite her into our room or not. But I also think it's a little wild that we are just having all this time.
we did have a choice.
We didn't.
Yes, we did.
No.
Yes, we did.
I'm going to invite her into my room. That wasn't a choice.
I swear to God, that was a choice.
No,
that was follow her into her room or leave her alone. So.
No, it wasn't actually a choice.
Mixing? Oh my God,
you are.
It's not. Okay.
No. So he encounters her in the hallway. And I like wave my. Should I interrupt her or go around her? The thing was, should I interrupt her or go around her? And then when we chose for that choice, he invited her into his room on his own.
Yeah, okay.
We didn't get a choice for it.
For some fucking...
Anyway, tell Rena she's the most inspiring person ever in the existence of reality. Maybe not, it's too embarrassing. I would tell her. This seems to be a running theme that he is completely awestruck by the fact that she can walk at all, by the fact that she can exist under the weight of illness of any kind, by the fact that she is here and can be seen in hallways.
God, I can't imagine being Rena and going, you're just inspiring, not like, hey, I don't know. To me, it seems weird.
Or you're inspiring because. Like, there's a difference between, so it's like the constructive criticism and constructive compliments. So I don't hear people talk about constructive compliments a lot. And this is going to be like a tiny little rant here. So constructive criticism is a very, very popular thing of going, don't just criticize saying it's bad, be constructive. Tell why it's bad and maybe what people could do about it, right? So helpful criticism. Helpful compliments are really a big thing to our constructive compliments. If someone goes, wow, you're awesome. Sometimes it can be glogged from context of I did A thing and they're now saying B, I'm awesome. Like I just parkoured my way into school and made it into class before the bell rang and I had my mask on and I social distanced the whole way. You are awesome. Other times it's like I'm talking to my friend, I'm trying to encourage them, or I'm even just trying to share how our relationship or our friendship is important, and I go, you are just so cool. Tell them why they're so cool. Like take a minute to analyze why you think someone is so cool or so great or so good or so awesome, and then put that in there, because that can really help a person if they are want to connect to your compliment, to not have this sort of amorphous idea of cool may or may not belong to me. They're not all splat. Bold, I own it. I am bold. Yes.
Yeah.
There is a level of someone going, wow, you're so funny, or you're so cool, or you're so neat, and they go, I now need to try and be that thing, but I have no idea what that thing is.
Right.
Especially like in interpersonal relationships, but also in professional relationships, it can be a big deal of going, you did a great job today, and following it up with, how well you kept up on your production. I loved how you worked with your team, and your breaks were punctual as hell. Baller, man. Badass.
And
Loved it.
that's giving people specifics of going, oh, this is things that I either could engage with of saying that I like these things, or these things that would be really helpful for me, to improve on, or just keep doing.
And it can be something really simple, like if you're talking to someone and you're just like, you are so cool, and they stare at you and you go, your aesthetic is amazing. I notice your fashion choices and your hair every single fucking day, and you are brilliant. And they go, I just kind of throw it together some days, and you're like, and nonetheless, you kill it, and I love it. Kind
Perfect.
of thing. Just be like, give something specific. It can really be valuable to people, and it can also be something cool where they can choose either way for it. Whether
It's
or not
called,
it
personalize your compliment.
Yeah, personalize it.
Like the thing is, oh, you're amazing. Doesn't, when you say that to 90 million people, it's like the thing where you go, I love you so much. Well, why do you love someone? I love the way that you laugh when you turn any situation around and do a joke. I love the way you do this thing. It's
basically that give, constructive compliments as well as constructive criticism. I know they say personalized compliments, but they're really constructive because they add to that person's understanding of how the world sees them.
Yes.
And so I am advocating for the more and greater use of constructive compliments, okay?
Yes.
And we are going to tell Rena that she's the most inspiring person ever in the history of all of existence in anime dating games.
Even though...
that Mr. has been in.
Even though, honestly, I don't get how. Like, I feel like...
This
is weird
inspired.
exotification, which is fine.
I was going to say...
But I have no connection to why.
I have no connection to it either, and it doesn't make much sense to me, but I feel that he is moving there very naturally as the character that I have interpreted him to be, making him more honest, but also he has continued to be ridiculously interested in Rena. He has talked to both of the other nurses about Rena. Has he talked to Rena about either of the other nurses?
No, not at all.
Has he talked to the nurses about each other than that knee thing?
Well, the thing about Louisa worrying, don't tell Louisa about my knee, she'll freak out.
But Miki brought that up. We didn't bring Louisa up to Miki.
Yeah.
So that,
yes.
I'm thinking that this is the only person that we ask other people about. It seems again like he's super fixated on Rena.
Which is fine, but also weird.
I might as well say it. It is weird in the sense of going, if this is supposed to be an option to date any of 3 people in this game, there's a level of, now if this one does actually have a non-linear path, holy shit, what if it did and we just don't know because the other ones all did?
Right.
And we're slowly just like railroading ourselves into Rena without meaning to. And then so we won't actually know that unless we go through it again and play other paths and shit like that.
Right.
But I think this is really where the game is going, of like, you just have way more inherent fixation on Rena for reasons. I may not have another chance, even though the nurse said she's fine and her body is amazing and she is healthy. Not she's getting better or she's healing, she just is healthy, period. I may not have another chance. Oh, because if she is healthy, she might leave this hospital before me.
Oh!
All right, I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. I clear my throat and choke. Rena.
Yes, mister?
I hesitate for a while.
A while.
A long while.
Oh my god!
Sometime later, flashes into the Lily's Garden load screen. Sometime later. Rena just stands there spacing out, doing her thing, going, I was watching him, and then I just let my brain travel to all kinds of worlds. And then we say, summoning my courage, I wheel myself in front of her. Because
Now
we're not
back in the wheelchair.
currently in front of her.
What?
Hang on. So were we staying over at the mini fridge? We really did.
Talking to the mini fridge.
We did side hand it to her, and then we rotated ourselves to look over at her, but we stayed over in the corner by the mini fridge the whole time. I mean, we were in front of her. We moved back over. They're saying that the camera doesn't actually indicate where you are unless it's said in the text.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so this is a critique piece right here. This is actually going to be it. So I had thought very much that the camera was indicating some character movement and character location in reference to each other, such as like where Mr. was in reference to the other people when it pans over, when it pans away, when it scoots in or out, even when it doesn't explicitly say it. Now, sometimes, yeah, you get Ken appearing there and he's not in front of you because you're literally talking about being far away from him. But in this case, we hand her the soda and then it pans back over to her, which to me suggested that we had moved back over to her. But apparently that was not the case, and we now have to wheel ourselves back in front of her, which makes this game more confusing to me and makes me feel less connected as a reader.
I don't understand it at all. Like,
she's staring off into space and doesn't hear any of this. This is the first time I've broken my leg. My one leg.
Oh my god.
I've had injuries in the past, but they're nothing compared to what I'm experiencing now. And I've never been in a hospital before.
This sounds so
ever.
I'm sorry, like, I kind of lost it because this sounds so fucking artificial and made up.
It sounds
Like,
very
this is
prepared.
so unnatural.
This is a prepared speech of, it's not just telling you you're inspiring, of God, you're inspiring to me. This is him pulling out the speech that he's written and going, I might as well just share it. I've been rewriting this thing for 3 days now, around and belly aching over Ken. I could do this. When I first found out that I may not be able to play in the tournament, which was literally the absolute beginning of the game and one of the first things I found out at all, I was devastated.
I have to admit, I feel dead inside.
But then I met you, and if you can just keep being sick and not be devastated of your whole life ever and live in a literal hospital and not just be here for a labeled term, even if we don't know how long ours is, then that's so amazing. I guess you could say my priorities start to change.
What?
Started? Have started?
Oh my God.
Did start to change?
I guess you could say.
But then meeting you, I guess you could say my priorities start to change. You inspire me. You make me feel that there are more things in life than 2 working legs, and that there's more options than just
God, this is so ableist.
completely able-bodied sport. Yep,
Oh my
that's where I was going.
fucking God.
The entire time, Rena is quietly listening to my monologue. That was a short monologue, but I'm glad you acknowledged that it was a monologue.
Yeah, completely.
You are the strongest person I've ever met, Rena, and I've been around tons of able-bodied athletes and other kids my entire life. None of them are actually strong. Physical strength isn't strength. It's the emotional and psychological courage that you have, which I've been able to perceive in our 3 limited interactions.
I have to admit right now, I'm sorry guys, like, I have really just kind of
Checked out.
checked out.
Like
this
Rena.
is terrible.
This is super weird.
This is super bizarre, super, like, alien.
This is a level of him going, you just by existing being sick. And
this is so inspiring because you are sick and you can't stop being sick.
And you just
you
keep
are
existing.
sick. And it's so good and it's so nice. You're so nice and so strong. It's like, again, I'm going like, we do not fucking know this character. This is so weird. I am so disconnected. Like, I can't even express the level of, like, sheer frustration of just going, I have nothing. I don't give any fucks at all about this.
Well, we just found out that Rena was much stronger than we thought.
What made her less strong or more strong or the strong or you are sick, therefore you are strong?
The fact that you can keep a smile on your face, think about positive things at all.
She's drugged all the time.
Right? The fact that you can even be friendly or daydream in any way suggests that you're an amazing, powerful person. That's all I've got.
Like, all I have, like, this just seems incredible.
Because you're friendly to me and the nurses say you're a badass, that means you are the strongest person I've ever met.
I don't understand this character at all.
All right, so
fucking bizarre. Anyway, so in the next one, we'll deal with how Rena is the strongest person Mister has ever met. Ever.
I might be really sheltered. Maybe I haven't met that many people, except for my sports team. And
I understand how you could be overwhelmed or impressed by literally just, like, somebody's basically general attitude, but usually, like, to me, Rena doesn't seem necessarily like she is strong or more strong or less strong
Okay,
or
I got
less
it,
strong. I don't get the heck.
Okay, so literary convention, writing convention here. I think I know what my friend is driving at. Of going, we have no connection to specifically why Mr. thinks she's strong. Sure, we can interpret from her behavior that she is being strong, that she's putting on a brave face, that she's being kind where she could otherwise just be pissy, that she is basically keeping up appearances because she is strong, because she intends to succeed, because she believes that even if she is hurting and tired and feels hopeless, that she's trying to connect to the world.
But she hasn't said any of those things.
And Mr. hasn't connected to or said any of those things. So that's what I'm talking about writing here, going, if you want this kind of a scene to be a payoff kind of scene, you need to set up where Mr. is being inspired by her, where he is connecting to that so strong of her, where he is thinking that her choice is a cool-ass freaking choice, where he goes, God, her just being cheerful about this chocolate thing and wanting to share and bounce out to the garden and stuff like that, that feels like an amazing piece of character. I would be so depressed if I was her in her position, so she looks strong. And then it would be him sharing his opinion. It wouldn't mean those things are true.
No, I know.
But it would be at least connecting to us to how he feels, and then when he says
why?
she's so strong,
Yeah.
it would be why he thinks that.
Yeah.
Right now, other than she's sick, and she's continuing to not die from being sick, and she's continuing to fight the being sick, that's the only reason he seems to think she's strong.
Yeah, I don't get it at all. So
All right, so
anyway,
the
well,
next
thanks for joining us, guys.
Yes!
If you like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and share our videos. If you're having an interesting time with us,
A time.
it is a time.
Yep.
Thank you. It was the time that I had rolling out of bed, shoving things up my butt crack, and going the other direction. It was interesting.
The wheelchair doesn't go in your butt crack.
No, I sat on the edge.
No, that's what I mean. You have to unfold it first.
I mean, you could try to sit on like the little arm handle,
Both
and it
arms.
sucks, and the whole thing tilts really aggressive. So, also, if you'd like to support us, please feel free to go check out our Ko-Fi and Patreon. I can't do it. I'm dying inside. It's fine, and I have been Scandal.
And we love having you here, and thank you so much for joining us.
God.
And I have been Lies. And it was great playing with you. Bye!
Bye.